Today on an all-new Dr. Phil. From beauty queen to a daily dose of this.
If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds.
Tamara's really addicted to Adderall.
Adderall and the music and my inner monster.
She's all over the place.
I was so lonely I started making love to the furniture around the house.
Tamara's always sending me all these wacky texts. Electric boots, flow, the bleedy lamb, no avocado on the iPad.
She's gonna get herself in big heap of trouble.
Can she come down from her high?
Does that look manic to you?
I like mania. It's way better than depression.
You're a drug addict in a way that is risking your life. Today's going to be a changing day in your life. You've never had anybody working harder to bring you to the threshold of change than right now. Well, you're getting ready to meet Tamara, who went from being a beauty queen competing in the Miss America pageant to having a very successful career as an anchorwoman on the local news here in Los Angeles. Well, Tamara's husband, Steve, says the former Miss Arkansas and respected newswoman started exhibiting strange behavior 4 years ago.
How you doing, baby? Mama's here. You know what I say? I scare myself.
You gotta get while the getting's good, baby.
I'm trying to give birth to my adventurous side.
I kind of like my inner monster. It's kind of good.
So why is Tamara dancing in a tutu in the middle of the night and using a puppet? Well, Steve says he believes that his wife's behavior is a direct result of a dangerous, dangerous dependency on Adderall.
Adderall and the music and my inner monster. Woo, that's the chemical equation right there.
Tamara's really addicted to Adderall.
She's gonna get herself in big heap of trouble.
When Tamara is using Adderall, she's kind of like on a spaceship. I mean, just way off the planet.
I was so lonely I started making love to the furniture around the house. I was making love to the shower door. I was like, ooh, shower door.
She's all over the place.
I scare myself because it's so shameful. Oh, I can't take it.
She's bouncing off the walls.
And I gotta run in here and get these heels on.
She'll stay up all night dancing and singing, jumping around in heels. She doesn't sleep.
I'm trying to give birth to my adventurous side.
Tamara rambles when she's on this drug.
I'm having a new chemical formula for some new lip gloss. It's called Smackered Up.
She overanalyzes everything. She's always trying to figure out Avogadro's number and Einstein's philosophies. Why is the car red? Just a diatribe of completely meaningless talk.
All I am is a walking side effect.
Tamara's always sending me all these wacky texts. Electric boots, flow, follow, 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 flow, with a picture of an ant. The bleedy lamb, TBL, Four Eyes, BLT, Blat, no avocado on the iPad. It just makes no sense. She has different personalities.
I may have my little girl, I may have my sultry grown woman who's ready for her knight in shining armor. But who am I really?
She reads T-shirts, and T-shirts all talk to her. It's like, oh my God, the message for me. And I'm like, no, it's not, honey. This guy bought that shirt at Target. It has no meaning to you. She tells me everything's okay. She can function in the world. She's happy.
How you doing, baby? Mama's here. You know what I say?
But in reality, this drug will eventually kill her, or she will be committed to a psych ward.
He seems to worry a little bit too much about everything, I think.
Well, Steve says Tamara's addiction, which she insists she does not have, leaves him as her caretaker.
I kind of like it. I kind of like my inner monster. It's kind of good.
Tamara used to be very independent, but now I'm her caretaker. I'm the guy that has to feed her and dress her, and she has become like a child.
When I speak the truth, it just...
The winner of the poster contest for the Twilight Dance series at the Santa Monica Pier was announced.
Adderall has stopped her from earning an income.
Keep watching. I'm Tamara Henry.
She was in television for 25 years. She was an anchorwoman, she was in the Miss USA pageant, and she was a beauty queen, and now she has no sense of purpose anymore.
I found my inner designer. I can write songs.
She needs constant attention. Tamara will have panic attacks. They're violent, and I feel so bad for her because she'll just crawl up in a ball and pretty much catatonic for an hour or so. She can't move. I mean, she's cried in front of me thousands of times. She'll cry right when we get into our favorite bagel shop. And people think I'm beating her. It's like I'm this really bad husband, and it's nothing like that. It's just she has these panic attacks, and she'll cry.
I've been able to do things I could never do. And I'm sorry, it doesn't look pretty on the outside.
Tamara's Adderall addiction wasn't part of the deal that I struck when we got married. I have hope. Dr. Phil could actually snap her out of this.
Well, Steve, you got to feel like this is just 24/7, right?
It's gotten pretty intolerable.
Despite your best efforts, you cannot convince her that she has an addiction, that she has a problem here.
She uses a euphemism. I'm not addicted. I'm reliant on my medicine.
Okay.
Is how she turns it, yeah.
Because the way she talks about it as though, and I've listened to every piece of tape, read every word that she's talked about. She talks about it as though it's unlocking her mind and letting everything expand, everything come out that has been tamped down. She sees this actually as a positive.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah. Now, she sends you rambling text messages, too.
I stopped reading them, and when your people ask me to read them, I don't read them anymore. I haven't read them in years.
Because they don't make sense,
they
right?
They make no sense. They make sense to her, but they'll make
do they, when she goes back to him, if you say, what the hell are you talking about here?
Yeah, there's some sort of, there'd be a connection of some sort. I mean, she's not stupid. Tamara is a genius, is the problem. But she'll connect them up
some
Yeah, she'll
way.
Connect them somehow, yeah.
Because here's an example, like text number 1, she says, fear and panic and symbolic death for right-sizing to end the isolation in exchange for everything.
Easy for you to say, yeah.
Yeah. What comes after bleed and scream? Blood, scream, and symbolic death is quick and painless. Long suffering? And then text 2, how can I feel calm in a safe place when I don't know who we're hiding from or what we're hiding? I can't see, I can't hear, I can't feel, I can't understand, I can't make decisions. What is happening? How much longer?
Yeah, it's incoherent. And in her defense, which I will defend her a lot because I love her, but in her defense, unfortunately, where she's at now, she's better on it than she is off of it. I don't know, you know, like heroin addicts, they can use methadone, and other people, alcoholics can go to AA. I don't know what Tamara needs when she gets off of this, because she has gotten off of it before, and she turns into a zombie, Dr. Phil. I mean, absolute zombify.
So you say she's easier to deal with on the Adderall.
Oh, without a doubt.
Because she's more productive around the house. And as much as you say, I don't want to feel like I'm exploiting her, but the truth is, she's easier to manage when she's on it than when she's in a fetal position, crying and upset.
Well, I mean, forget the productivity. Yeah, she is very productive. I mean, she cleans the house, and it's mind-boggling how much she gets done because, you know, it's like a methamphetamine. It's a speed. But she's calm.
How do you resolve the conflict here? Because you pay for this Adderall prescription. Somebody's giving it to her, but you're paying for it. How do you square that?
You know, that's a real conundrum. You know, she gave me a huge analyzing statement one day. It was kind of like a Tamara manifesto as to why this was, and I actually kind of bought into it. You know, she's like, you know, I've never felt good my entire life, ever. I've always had shame. I've always had guilt. You know, I didn't start taking this stuff until I was, you know, 40. It makes me feel good. It let me feel good, Stephen. I mean, let me, and I'm like, okay, you know, but then it progressed where she had a 12-hour panic attack in a hotel, and I had to kind of hold her down, and she just cried.
But it's also killing her.
It is.
But that's the thing, because you understand she's sleep deprived.
Yes, she is.
Because she stays up all night, and when you're sleep deprived, then your brain chemistry, the neurotransmitters in your brain are disrupted, and then you're pouring this Adderall, which is just an amphetamine.
But you have to explain it. She won't listen to me because I'm the bad guy.
So we've got a plan then. We'll throw you under the bus. I'll be the hero.
I think I'm already under the bus, yeah.
All right, I got it. But the side effects get worse and worse, and her brain gets more and more disrupted. And then when she does come down off of it, it's a long way to fall. Now, Tamara says she loves Adderall and all it's doing for her life. And we're going to meet her after the break, and I'm going to ask her some hard questions, and I'll bet you she's got some pretty good answers. We'll be right back.
I've been waiting for somebody to say, put your heels on, baby.
If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds. When I take my Adderall, it's almost like I have a magic wand. I just walk in the room and and it's just clean. I just don't understand why I should stop taking it.
Monday Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil. 2 international men proposed online.
And she said yes to both. Why somebody halfway around the world?
Someone local, they always looked at my size. I am fat, okay?
You think geography is going to solve that?
What we discover
There's more to this story.
about her online lovers.
What the hell? Liar, liar, pants on fire.
That's Monday on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Well, with 16 million Americans filling prescriptions for stimulants like Adderall every year, many experts warn that a new prescription drug epidemic is fast approaching. We all know about the opioid epidemic, but tucked in behind that is this stimulant epidemic. And the deaths associated with that are climbing at an alarming rate. Now, Tamara insists her Adderall prescription is helping her to, and I quote, give birth to a midlife awakening and fulfill her fairy tale fantasies. Take a look.
Kill that old girl off and let that new girl come to life. Some of my favorite things about Adderall is the fact I just love my brain. I get so excited. I love my brain. I can think clearly. I have access to the words that I need. I can remember things from my childhood. I can remember words I want to recall. Yeah, and you celebrate life and you know, shake your butt and you feel alive again. When I take my Adderall, it helps me focus. It's almost like I have a magic wand. I just walk in the room and and it's just clean. A big pile of dirty dishes, voila, it's done. It's like Alice in Wonderland. All my fairy tale dreams are coming true. Before Adderall, I was Sleeping Beauty in a glass case, just kind of oblivious, and it woke me up. I could feel everything. For the first time in my life, I just don't understand why I should stop taking it. I've been waiting for somebody to say, put your heels on, baby. Adderall, unleash my inner diva, my inner creative side, my inner neglected self. I was on a run in here, and like I'll even throw these curtains open, and I'll be like trying to sing in here and see if I can hear myself better. Woo-hoo! I put those high heels on, turn that music up, get your disco ball going, and just do the press around. It's therapeutic. I kind of like my inner monster. It's kind of good. In the past, I was a doormat. This flimsy girl who would come home crying. Adderall helped me put my boxing gloves on and gave me the courage to stand up for myself. If you're happy and you know it, shake your meds. I take it every day. 20 to 30 milligrams 2 or 3 times a day. One of the challenges of taking Adderall is trying to find your sweet spot. I used to be the medical reporter, now I'm the patient. Stephen talks about it like it's heroin or some bad thing. It could be a magical journey. So why not have magic? It's a pill I put in my mouth and swallow. I mean, ta-da! I don't know, what's the big deal?
Well, hello, it's good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you, Dr. Phil.
So what is the big deal? Is this all much ado about nothing?
I don't know. I mean, I kind of wish that I had been on it. I was like, why wasn't I on this in high school and college and during my career? I could have done so much better and been so much more successful. And so I just think I had some friends that could see that something was wrong or I needed something, so they told me to go to the doctor.
So you went to the doctor, and did he give you a diagnosis or just the pills? I mean, this is for an underactive neocortex. Did they diagnose you with that?
I think he was able to tell by my symptoms. I can't focus. You know, I need more energy. I'm all over the place. I feel lethargic. No.
No blood workup?
No.
I assume that you're reevaluated every 10 to 30 days?
Right, I go in every 30 days to see my doctor, so he sees me. I come in and I sit on the couch like this, and he looks at me and, you know, says, how's it going? And in the beginning, we talked a lot more, and now it's just kind of like I'm on autopilot. I just come in. We don't have that much to talk about, and he makes sure that I look fine, and I get my prescription, and I just keep going.
Okay, so how long do you spend with a doctor?
These days, you know, it could just take like 5 minutes to come in.
How much are you taking?
I'm taking 20 to 30 milligrams 2 to 3 times a day.
Seriously?
Yes.
And they're prescribing that to you?
Yes.
They know you're taking as much as 90 milligrams of Adderall a day?
Yes.
7 days a week?
Yes.
For 4 years?
Yes.
Right. Tell me what the side effects are, to your understanding.
When you talk about side effects that we also have a lot of positive side effects that we overlook because people tend to focus on the negative.
Well, give me a list of both that you're aware of.
Well, some of the positive side effects are that I'm more aware of my inner landscape, the things inside of me that I was unaware of. Let's say I was dragging a lot of luggage behind me from the past, things that were dragging me down. They all became amplified so that I could see them clearly, so I could see some of my character defects, some of my hang-ups, so that I could work on them and get rid of them. One of the first things that came up is I saw that I was kind of concerned about other people's opinions, almost in a paranoid way. And I had to learn to deal with that. Like, I would see somebody frowning and I would think that was about me. And I had to learn.
But don't you have ideas of reference now? Don't you see things on television or on a T-shirt or on a sign and personalize those things as being about you?
I do. I feel like, because I'm a very spiritual person.
Does that seem normal to you, that you see a T-shirt or a sign and think that that is a message specifically for you?
Well, in the past, I never noticed much of anything. I never noticed any signs. I never noticed any T-shirts. I never noticed, I was a walking zombie. I never saw anything. And then all of a sudden, I was tuning into everything. And I began to see, like,
but now
patterns
my
and
question.
beauty and things like
Now
that.
answer my question.
Okay.
Do you think it's unusual that you see a T-shirt with a saying on it and believe that that is specifically aimed at you?
Well, I kind of believe that everything in life is a Rorschach test. Whenever you see something, it's not about the thing that you're seeing. What you're seeing is your own perception of the world reflected back to you.
But there's a T-shirt that was made in Minnesota 5 years ago, and some guy's wearing it on the beach, and you decide that that message is for you specifically. Does that seem rational?
Inside of me is everything. And so when I see something, I resonate with it. Some things more so than others. You know, that T-shirt doesn't really resonate with me. This one does. That one's speaking my message. I don't understand what you're asking me.
I think you do. All right, we're going to take a break. Next, Tamara says she has a puppet that is not only part of her therapy, but also helps her reach out to the heathens and hellcats on Venice Beach. We're going to take a look at that after the break, and I'm going to have her look at some of the videotape that we've shot in her condo and let her comment on that. We'll be right back.
Without the Adderall, I just kind of feel like I'm a knot on a log.
She becomes lethargic, very zombie-like. She has a really hard time making any decisions. It's not good for anyone.
Happy Sunday.
I found this puppet at a garage sale.
Curtains for you right now, girl.
I think that it's a perfect little bit of dialogue between multiple parts of myself. Her name is Henrietta Horton.
I'm the one who can bitch and complain.
My puppet represents the side of me that gets to do all the pouting and complaining. I started my own little show out on the beach in Venice, and it's every Sunday morning I go out there, and it's like Sunday school for Saturday night sinners and Sunday morning grinners, because heathens and hellcats need to go to church too.
You gotta get while the getting's good, baby.
Well, Tamara says she had no idea that being prescribed Adderall would lead to what she calls a magical journey of creativity and awakening.
I kind of feel like that in the beginning, before I started taking Adderall, I was out there and I was talking to people, and when I started to take the Adderall, it was more of an inner journey. And for the first time in my life, I was able to cry. My entire life, I couldn't feel anything physically, I couldn't feel anything emotionally. I was locked down, I had blocks and chains. You know, the Bible belt was just squeezing me too tight. I went through some therapy where everyone else was crying and boohooing in their tissues, and I'm like, why am I not crying? I think I was too trapped in my head. Sure. There was something about it that opened my emotions.
How much are you sleeping?
I'm sleeping pretty much regularly, unless I'm, if I choose to stay up late, and I know that Stephen gets mad at me for staying up late, and I want to go to bed at midnight, but sometimes my creative genius can come out late at night.
Staying up late is one thing. 6:32 in the morning is another thing. I mean, that's not late. I mean, that's into the next day.
Right, but I don't know. I've heard stories about, muses and, you know, people who are artists, and I know that everyone should be so regimented and be a 9 to 5 person and get 8 hours of sleep every night. And I think sleep's important.
Yeah, well, let me tell you something. When you started taking Adderall, you didn't reinvent brain chemistry. That is what it is, and I'm watching you here. I mean, take a look at this. I mean, that's fun. Looks like you're having fun.
Right.
How do you interpret what you're looking at here?
I think that, I mean, I had, you know, my mom died, and she sent 13 boxes of my stuff from my childhood, and there's my toe shoes. And I got up and I put those on, and I was able to get up on my toes. And there's me cleaning the house. I love Manic Mondays. I get up and I put on the music, and I clean the house, and I get it done. Where, you know, I used to couldn't clean the house. I would just look at it and say, oh, I can't do this, I can't face it.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this tape.
Okay.
How you doing, baby? Mama's here. You know what I'm saying? I scare myself.
I'm trying to give birth to my adventurous side.
Oh, you know, I can't take it.
How does that look to you?
It's not as bad as I thought it was gonna look. I'm having fun. I mean, you know, I used to be a buttoned-up business person, and I had completely forgotten about my inner monster.
Does that look manic to you?
It doesn't look so manic to me, but I think that I like mania. It's way better than depression.
If those are the only two choices, then okay. But the truth is, you're sleep deprived, right? You say it's boring. Sleep's boring. How do you know you're asleep?
No, I think it is important to get good sleep, because then I can function better. And
Does she get good sleep?
No, she does not.
How many hours does she sleep?
Well, I mean, like when she goes to bed, here's the problem. When she goes to bed at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, she'll come to bed and she'll get up at 10:30, you know, 3 hours. Now, that's not every day, but it's progressively gotten worse. Yeah.
If you're staying up and going to bed at 6:30 in the morning and sleeping for 3 hours, then your brain is altered, and then you're pouring a way overdose of Adderall on top of your brain. You're getting high on speed and running around your house like a chicken with a head cut off.
anytime you get something new in your life, at first you're gonna be like, wow, this is great.
You've been doing this for 4 years. You're running from something. Is it possible that maybe perception is reality, and so you're seeing this a whole lot different than maybe it really is?
I understand that, and I understand...
Would answer my question. I didn't ask you if you understood it.
Yeah.
I asked you if that's possible, that that's what's happening with you.
I think it's possible. I mean, I want to look at everything, and I want to make sure that, that I get into my stride with this, and if I can't, then maybe I should stop taking it.
But why do you have such a poor image of yourself?
I don't know. I guess maybe because I feel like I have a lot of self-scrutiny, and I feel scrutinized by others or judged by others. And so it's kind of like, I think that, you know, at first I'm gonna be all over the place, but eventually I'm gonna find a good stride and a good frequency, and it's gonna kind of balance out.
Okay, but my question is, what do you know about yourself that I don't know, that Steve doesn't know? What do you know about yourself that is so bad that you believe you can't function without these drugs?
Well, in the past, I was drinking 2 pots of coffee a day to try to get to that place. And in college, I had a doctor write me a note that said that I had chronic fatigue syndrome. And I feel like emotionally, I just kind of tend to be negative and a knot on a log. So I've been really happy. The way that I have felt, I have been happy. I don't know if everyone else is happy, and that's a bummer to think that I have to choose between me being happy or them being happy. There's got to be some kind of happy medium balance.
Okay, I'm not easy to deflect. My question is, what do you know about yourself that causes you to believe that you need to take so much drug to be okay?
What do I know about myself?
You're running from something because you don't feel like you can function without taking 90 milligrams of Adderall a day. What are you running from?
I don't know. I mean, I just don't think I'm running from something. I think that I'm just so ecstatic and happy to be alive for the first time that I may be going bonkers. But I think it's okay. I think that once I get used to this, I mean, I think anytime you get something new in your life, you get a new car, you get a new house, you get a new, you know, husband or wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, get a new career, a new sport. At first you're gonna be like, wow, this is great, you know, and
4
eventually.
years. You've been doing this for 4 years.
I know, and I feel like that, that I'm finally.
We trade cars in after 4 years. This isn't new.
Right.
This doesn't have that new drug smell anymore. This is 4 years old.
Well, but it's still working for me, and that's a shame, and I'm sorry. And I would like to know if there's a better drug. I would be willing to change. You know, people say there's got to be something better. I don't know. It's still working for me, and I don't know.
Well, okay, I've got a challenge for you when we come back. Tamara says Steve's got another thing coming if he thinks shipping her off to rehab is going to fix her and their marriage. So what are we going to do about all of that? Well, Tamara wonders if Steve taking Adderall with her might bring his game up to where she is.
What a great idea.
Maybe that's the problem. He's dragging behind. We'll talk about all that when we come back.
She's going through hell, and her husband's standing over her, judging her every step of the way.
We're more like roommates right now.
He's constantly on me like I'm a bad kid doing something wrong.
I fell in love with this power player. I want her back.
Maybe he's the one that needs a little Adderall.
We had a really horrible incident a few weeks back. I come in from a long day at work, and my wife is drunk at the computer. She was just singing and having a good time. Tamara's mixing Adderall with whiskey. I'm like, I can't think of a more lethal combination. She did it 3 days in a row. I'm not afraid of what's going to happen. I know what's going to happen. This is going to kill her.
Now, Tamara admits that Adderall has created issues in her and Steve's marriage, but she says the real problem is not the pills, it's Steve judging and shaming the new her.
I'm giving birth to something beautiful here, and he can't even see it. Adderall has caused me and Steve to grow apart. She's going through hell, and her husband's standing over her, judging her every step of the way, telling the neighbors what's going on.
Our marriage is not great, but she is possessed and has been taken over by Adderall.
The old me is dying away, and the new me is being born. And my husband might be botching up the process because Steve judges me. Sometimes I feel shamed by Steven or constrained by him, like he's my father or my prison warden.
I'm the bad guy. She won't listen to anything I say. She has no sense of reality.
Do you plan on staying on Adderall your entire life?
I don't know what the future holds. I'm in the middle of my transformation. I'm changing, and he's not. He's like, what is she doing? She's not being the way she used to be. She better go back to the way she was. You know, I'm hot in the kitchen. I'm making some food.
We have gone in two separate directions. We're more like roommates right now.
It's like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. It's like Alice in Wonderland. All my fairy tale dreams are coming true. Steven wants me to go off to rehab and come back not taking Adderall. He's constantly on me like I'm a bad kid doing something wrong.
I still love Tamara with all my heart, but I fell in love with this power player, and we were gonna take over the world, but she completely fell. I just don't know what to do.
Sometimes I think maybe he's the one that needs a little Adderall, and we'll both be on the same frequency.
The woman I fell in love with doesn't exist anymore. I want her back.
I have a challenge for you.
Okay.
This is a role play. Go back to the old you, Anchorwoman you, and just interview me.
Okay. So, Dr. Phil, welcome to the Dr. Henry Show. We're so glad you could be with us today.
Glad to be here.
What I would like to ask you is, what have you seen with some of your guests that come in on the show? I'm sure you've had a lot of people struggle with alcohol and drugs. And so, in terms of pharmaceuticals, what are some of the biggest risks, and what are some of the stories that you've heard about pharmaceuticals?
Mostly denial, because people don't understand how it affects the brain chemistry And because it's altered their consciousness, they're unable to see what's going on inside their body, and it takes away their ability to have insight and understand what's going on inside them.
Mm-hmm. So how do you get those people to see themselves clearly?
Well, at some point, they have to trust people that care about them and understand that those people are going to be kind of their touchstone. They're going to be the ones that say, you know what, you may not be able to see this, but you're going to have to trust that I love you and I do, and believe in yourself enough to know that there's another way to get what you want rather than chemically.
Mm-hmm. And what are some of those ways that your guests have found?
Well, I think they find it by deciding what the obstacles are within themselves that are draining their life energy, what it is that's keeping them from being everything that they believe they are on the drugs that they can really be. Maybe it's unresolved trauma in their life. Maybe it's a lack of confidence because they have had failure experiences. Maybe it's the fear of being judged by others, and so they just don't feel the ability to go out and do everything they want to do. And when they get the confidence, it's always because they've changed their internal dialogue. They've changed what they're saying to themselves and about the world. And once you wipe all of those things away and their authentic self is able to come out and blossom, then they don't need the drugs.
Mm-hmm. I like that when you talk about the authentic self, because I think that's what I'm trying to do, is give birth to my authentic self. And it's so hard to do and to anchor that in when you have a lot of people in your life who care about you and who are worried about you.
Well, you've had me as a guest here. What do you want your viewers to take away from my being here today?
Well, I just want them to, I mean, you have the #1 show, the #1 talk show, just to be here, be part of it. That's really amazing. And you did this without Adderall.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yay, natural. Where's Dr. Phil? Hi.
And look at everything in your life you did without Adderall.
Right, you're right.
Look at everything in your life you did without Adderall. Mm-hmm. All the achievements, all the accomplishments, all the accolades, all the competition, everything you achieved without ever taking that damn pill.
Right. You are so smart, Dr. Phil. Thank you so much for saying that. You hit the nail on the head. I love that.
We'll be right back.
A lot of people have told me to leave Tamara, but I had an ex-girlfriend who I very much cared for. She called me 5 years ago. She had an addiction issue. She said, "Steven, come and get me." And I'm like, "I can't come get you. I'm in a relationship." I wish I had, because she killed herself. I could have brought her, and I could have tried to save her. I don't want this to happen to Tamara. She doesn't have anyone.
Well, Steve says, despite people urging him to, he will never turn his back on his wife, despite her struggling with a dangerous Adderall addiction. And he shouldn't, and I'll tell you why. She's here. I mean, she didn't say, no, I won't come, I won't listen to this. She's here. I mean, you got to give her credit for that. Now, I want to introduce Dr. Charles Sophie. He's sitting here in the audience. Now, Dr. Sophie is a board-certified psychiatrist in 3 clinical specialties, actually, and he's the medical director of the Department in Child and Family Services for Los Angeles. You know, Dr. Sophie, she's taking 90 milligrams of Adderall a day, never having had a brain workup to determine if the prefrontal cortex is, in fact, underactive. What do you think about the levels of Adderall that she's taking?
Well, I mean, the top dose for an adult is about 40 milligrams a day. So you're on 90. You've never really had your blood taken to see if your thyroid or any other medical problem could be presenting itself. But I think, unfortunately, you had a depression, probably, that this medicine, amphetamine, made you feel happy about, happier than you've been in a while. But I think it goes back to his question of what were you running away from inside of you? Because it took it away, but it's artificial.
And what do you think would be the potential problems with taking twice the maximum dosage that an adult should be taking of Adderall for not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 years in a row?
Well, I mean, the side effects of just your appetite suppression. You're depriving your body of food, probably of some level. Your sleep, you're never restoring your brain to the level it should be. And your cardiovascular system can't take it after a while. That's why you're having those panic attacks. You're being overrun with dopamine, your heart rate goes up, your blood pressure goes up, you could have a stroke, you could die.
It tricks your body because you have pleasure centers in your brain, and Adderall has a lot in common with cocaine. And you're taking high doses of it, and so it tricks your body, and it messes up the neurotransmitters in your brain. You can have that energy, you can have that joy, you can have that creativity without putting your life at risk. Because right now, you're a drug addict. And you're a drug addict in a way that is risking your life. And you need to be responsible enough to hear that and make a deal that says, I'm not willing to go back to where I was before I started the drug, but I'm not willing to put my life at risk and continue doing this either. I want an alternative. So what's next for Tamara and Steve? I'm going to tell them what I think after the break. You, biochemically, are addicted to Adderall. Do you believe that?
Well, I mean, I don't want to call myself a drug addict, and sometimes I say, maybe I'm just drug dependent.
You're drug dependent, and I have thinning hair.
Yeah.
Okay? Let's not get into semantics. You have an issue with Adderall. Fair?
Yes. I mean, does that mean everybody that takes it is that way?
Everybody that's taken 90 milligrams a day for 4 years, you're damn right.
When he wants me to stop taking it, it kind of feels like he's trying to take away my newfound magic. You know, this is the new me, and you don't like it, and it's almost like he wants to do away with that girl, and it's kind of scary.
My goal is not to get you off of this drug. My goal is to get you to a well-adjusted, drug-free place where you're happy and free and energized in your life, where you're experiencing everything you are now, but without the drug. Will you work with us to do that?
Yes, I will.
Okay? Yeah. And Dr. Sophie, will you help us do this?
100%.
Because we can start with getting some lab work and figuring out where she is brain-wise. If we need to, she can go to PNP in Dallas and get a brain workup and figure things out. And if the easiest thing for you is to go to a dual diagnosis treatment program that's just stunningly beautiful. Dr. Mannion, how are you?
Hi, Dr. Phil.
This is Dr. Dina Mannion. She's the Chief Clinical Officer at Aloe House Recovery Centers. They provide a terrific, very customized experience. You understand what we're saying here.
The great thing about Aloe House is we're not just a treatment center. We also do use alternative methods to help people to get to their authentic self, which I think you really want to do. In addition to having daily medical doctors on site, we also do things like sound bath and yoga and equine therapy and things that can kind of bring out that inner creativity in you that I think you're wanting to really get in touch with. It's not just rehab.
Can I bring my puppet?
Yes. You can bring your puppet.
Please bring your puppet.
Okay.
Puppet therapy. There we go.
Really, I think this is absolutely made for you. And again, understand, I don't want you just off this drug. I want you to have what you're looking for in your life.
Sure.
Thank you.
Fair enough?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Okay, very much. All right. I want to thank all my guests today, and a special thanks to Dr. Charles Sophie and Dr. Dina Mannion from Aloe House Recovery Centers for offering the resources for Tamara, because it's just made for her. For more information about today's show, log on to drphil.com. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I do read your comments and questions. For instance, the real Kelvin Klein asked, Dr. Phil, my brother keeps eating my leftovers. Got any advice? Yeah, quit leaving them left. Eat them yourself or put them under your mattress. That's what I used to do. We'll see you next time.